We have some regulars. Oh, we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wire Wednesday. Man, I forgot. I think this is number 27. This is our interview series. We are interviewing Elvis and Barbara from Voices from the Bench, and it's a podcast that you can subscribe to either on YouTube or on, anywhere you can get it, and I'll have them explain that in a bit. My intrepid co-host, as always, is Steve Szara of Szara Dental Lab. Say hi, Steve.
What's up, everybody? How are you doing? Good afternoon.
And I will go ahead and introduce, and I'm actually going to flip the table on these two because usually they're asking these questions, and so I'm going to ask these questions, and I'll start with Elvis. Elvis, let us know where you're from and where your lab is. Oh, that's the same question.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you for having us on. We appreciate it. Anytime we can reach out to potential new listeners, we're always looking. So my name's Elvis Dahl. I'm in a lab called Summer Dental Laboratories in Zionsville, Indiana.
And Barbara is his co-host. So Barbara, let us know about yourself.
Hi, guys. I'm Barbara Wojdan, and I work in Oldsmar, Florida. I'm watching the hurricane hit the panhandle right now. Really worried about a lot of people I know, but Night Dental Group, Oldsmar, Florida.
You're on the other side, right?
Yeah, we're getting rain and not a lot of anything, but that's usually where I vacation. And so, yeah, I know a lot of people that have houses up there. It's kind of crazy. It's gotten really bad. So,
you're on the Gulf side of Florida?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Tampa. So if you know where Tampa is, we're right outside Tampa, 20 minutes outside.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I noticed nobody asking where Zionsville is, but that's okay. I get it.
You say Indiana, they just kind of picture middle of the country.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Is that considered flyover territory?
Crossroads of America, sir. Crossroads of America.
Nice.
Everyone drives right through.
Well, Steve is the one that introduced me to you guys, and I've been thoroughly enjoying y'all's podcast. Well produced, well done. Love the guest you're bringing on. And so he was like, we need to get these people connected to our group. And Steve and I, if you don't know, are strictly ortho. We're what we call the redheaded stepchildren of the dental lab industry, and which is bad because I just listened to a podcast where somebody said we're the stepchildren of the whole dentistry industry. So we're even down the list. But Steve and I like to connect with our viewers and help out with, because most people don't know the dental lab industry and even less know about the ortho dental lab industry. So we both have created our YouTube channels. I think I started mine in 2010. And he started. Steve, when did you start your YouTube channel?
I think it was 2015. I think.
Yeah, and
sure.
I was watching.
How'd you two partner up? Is that?
Well, I was actually watching one of his videos came up on soldering, and I'm always open to learning new techniques and stuff. And he actually showed this, which was a trick that I showed in one of my videos, and he called me out. He goes, "Hey, I learned this from Retainer Designer." And so I was like, hey,
there you go.
So we connected and we did a collaboration YouTube video together, learning different about wire bending techniques. And so we've been involved with each other's channel ever since, because really there's no competition between us, because my subscribers are his subscribers. They both learned some new technique from us.
Sure.
And we're really video based. So but y'all are audio based. Let us know, Steve, do you have anything to add to that before?
Oh, sure. We're in the ortho business, but as technicians, we do everything that you do. Like Kate and I have talked about this. We run a business. We deal with healthcare. We deal with impressions. We deal with a lot of impressions compared to you guys. We deal with like, we're talking 20 a day, like seeing all the things that you guys, from materials to waxes to dealing with, now him and I don't deal with employees. I have in the past. So we have that experience. So we have going out to get marketing, all those podcasts that you guys have been putting out, we could relate, which is we're in the same business, even though it's ortho and people kind of subcontract us, or, you know, most people in Crown and Bridge, they just don't do ortho. But for the most part, we do a lot. I mean, I set teeth every single day of my life, like on retainers and appliances and helping doctors. So it's so relatable to you guys. And I was listening to your podcast. I'm just like, we're in the same field. Like, we're in the same boat. It's like, it's hard to imagine because people just put ortho completely aside. Most people who talk about ortho is like, oh, that's so hard, or like, just get away from that. But we're all dental technicians, you know what I'm saying? So I heard your podcast. It was wonderful. And I was just like, man, more people have to know about this and get involved. And I love your interviews.
Thank you.
I happen to know a couple of people on your interviews. I love how you're doing them. So like I talked to Kate about, I'm like, we got to get these people on our channel and share the wealth of both of us, you know, like to help each other out. And you guys just listed all your videos on YouTube. So Kate, make sure you put a link in there. So
it's in the description below. Yeah.
All those dental technicians out there who listen to our stuff can tap onto you, you know, and vice versa. It's just a great way to get knowledge out there. Knowledge is power. You guys know us in the business. Anything you learn. Your marketing strategies that I heard recently, I've listened to them all, the videotapes, and it's just great hearing from different technicians all over the United States. And what's different about Kate and I is we connect a lot of people around the world. So we're not even getting feedback from the US. We're getting people talking to us about marketing from Argentina, you know, like, and how they do it. And it's so cool. None of this existed 5 years, like before Kate came along. I always told him, I go, he is Neil Armstrong, because he's the first person that put his face on YouTube and was brave enough to do it. And I'm kind of Buzz. I'm Buzz Aldrin. You know what I'm saying? Like, I kind of jumped in on the bandwagon, just going like, well, he breathed the oxygen. I can jump in now too. You know, he tried it out. And you guys are doing the same exact thing. You're doing it from the different part of the industry, but we're all the same. We're all friends. We're all good. Well, everything we can learn from each other is gold.
And let us know, that kind of segues right into the next. Elvis, were you the one that how did you start this? I don't know.
He's the genius.
Yeah.
It's all his fault. All his fault.
How and why did you start your story, the history of the podcast?
Absolutely. So I started listening to dentist podcast a lot. I was the one who would listen to, there's a bunch of them out there. I mean, dentists have a huge collection of podcasts. And the famous one I really got into was called The Dental Hacks. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's done by two gentlemen, Dr. Alan Mead and Dr. Jason Liscombe. And their format was just so laid back and just so casual, and it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot of it as a dental technician, that I could speak to dentists in their kind of terminology and how they relate to their problems. And just listening to them, they did an episode years ago with Mark Jackson. I don't know if you guys remember Mark Jackson, wonderful guy. And I listened to it, and all it was him talking about stuff going on in the laboratory business. Now, granted, the interview was probably 5 years old at this point, but it started me to think, where's our voice? Where's our podcast? And that's what I just kind of started brewing up this idea of getting people together just to talk about our field, interviews, roundtables, whatever I could, whoever's willing to be on, really, I'll let them talk.
True. Yeah.
So that's what it is. It just breeded from other podcasts, other formats that I enjoyed myself. So I thought, hey, why not? Where's our voice?
And hence the name.
Yeah, Voices from the Bench. Actually, a little trivia. I tried Tales from the Bench, but that website was taken. So.
Oh, and I put the link to your website below in the description below, which is a very excellent done website. There's a fly in here.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, I see it.
Kill it.
I got a fly swatter down here, so you may see me smack something. So how'd you recruit? Can I say recruit, Barbara?
Yeah. So when
Barbara was drinking. Saying.
That's how all the podcasts.
Yep.
So when I came up with the idea, I really wasn't even sure I wanted to be the one on the podcast. I mean, by no means am I an expert interviewer or am I very public speaking? None of that. I'm not good at it, as you can tell by the way I'm talking now. So my idea was, once I realized that the only way this thing is going to get off the ground is if I do it myself, I knew people would not want to hear just me. So I started thinking who would be a great person to co-host with me. And my first and only thought was Barbara. I know her through the NADL. Every time we've met and gotten together, her personality was great. She's outgoing, she's smart. And it also allowed for another perspective. You know, I come from a male. I was not born in the industry, and we have like a medium-sized lab. She's female. She's been in her whole life, and she comes from a large lab. And I thought that'd be a nice perspective to bring to whoever we're interviewing.
Yeah.
And it was only her.
Aw, I was the only choice. Thanks.
Well, you made a good choice.
Thanks.
And when I asked her, do you want to be on a podcast? I believe she said, what's that? So.
Yeah, I did. That's a true story. I was, when he asked me, I was, of course, going to say yes, but he said a podcast. Sure, I'll do a podcast with you. And little did I know, you know, how much time and effort we would have to be spending on it every Friday. You know, we do hours, we do weekends. But I don't regret it 1 second. It's been extremely gratifying. I've met so many people, and every single story is just like ours. You know, it's been a family member, or you grew up in the business, and just really good people talking about really, you know, honest, giving honest feedback. So it's been fun. But yeah, I had no idea what a podcast is. Now I do. I have a hard time listening to myself because I feel like I sound like I have a low voice. So I've probably listened to several episodes, but not near as many as you guys because it's a little uncomfortable.
Well, I have a funny story. When I first started putting videos out, I would listen to myself and I would realize the hick accent that I have. You don't hear it until you hear yourself. And I would get on there and I'd be like apologizing to my audience, like, listen, I'm sorry. I didn't realize my accent was so bad today. And somebody wrote on there, no, it's cool. You're the Joel Osteen of the ortho world.
Oh,
Nice.
there you go.
All right. Well, that's
There you
good.
go.
Live your life to the fullest.
You know, everybody loves an accent, so I would have to agree. Where'd you go? You just killed a fly?
Yeah, I'm getting my fly swatter because I'm getting it ready, and it's about to land on my camera probably.
Oh,
if
there you go.
The camera go down. So kind of segueing into production, you said you're very busy. What is it? So which day do y'all put out your podcast, and then when do y'all record? Because I record before, and then you spend time editing it.
So everything's edited. We do our interviews really whenever we can get the interviewee to be available. We try to shoot for Friday afternoon for some reason. I think I'm usually free. Barb usually has a good amount of time. But if the interviewee is not available, we've done Saturday interviews. We did Tuesday night interviews, whatever. And then when we record the actual episode, so what goes before and after the interview, it's whenever we can hook up. Fridays are good. We've done Saturdays, Sundays afternoons. You know, if the kids are allowed and the dogs are allowed, I'll come to the lab to record for a few. And
if your wife lets you.
Yeah, if my wife lets me. So it's a lot of just scheduling, really. And then I just spend time editing. I don't ever really edit content. It's more just cleaning up all the ums and the over speakings and things like that. So I never mess with any of it. And I like it that I allow the interviewees to hear it before it goes out, because I want the interview to be about them. So if they have anything they want me to take out that they said that they shouldn't have said, I always allow them to do that.
Oh, that's good. That
we don't have that option.
No.
Yeah, I know.
It's live.
It's now or never. Yeah.
So that y'all, when is y'all's episodes come out?
Oh yeah, sorry. Monday morning. For some reason, I chose 4 o'clock in the morning, and I did that because it's crazy. I did that because a lot of the people in my lab are here at work by 5 a.m, and my thought was if I want them to listen to it on their way to work. So
Oh,
4 in the morning.
Forcing them into listening to it at 5 a.m. when they get to work.
They're going to be quizzed.
Yeah, as soon as I see them, did you hear it? Did you hear it? Did you hear it?
Hey, not to disrupt you guys, but I listen to your podcast while I'm working. Like I'll throw my headphones on and just work, and it's just like easy listening, and it's valuable. Like you could listen to it anytime. That's the cool about podcasts.
Yeah.
The same thing kind of with our videos, but sometimes we're like telling stuff, so people have to like have the time to look at it. But with a podcast, it's 24/7. You could listen to it anytime. You don't need to have it like a set time. I would just say to put it at 11 o'clock. You know, like put it at a time where most people will click on, because it's like on YouTube, you have to beat their algorithm and have to pick a special time that'll get the most views. 4 in the morning, you're not getting any views. You know what I'm saying?
That's a really great suggestion. Yeah.
So you need to pick a time, leave it there, and your employees could listen to it anytime. Like,
sure,
you know what I mean? Like you could give it to them early if you want.
It's
just a way to build your channel up real fast rather than 4 a.m. is not like, Cade, you know, if we put a video out at 4 a.m., we're going to get 5 views. If we put it out at 11 or 12, we get 150 views right away. It's just that's how it works.
Well, and that's why we do the Wire Wednesday. This stream at noon. I'm trying to catch people at their lunch break or something, so they can actually watch the videos. And I have a multi-camera setup, so I can do different views with hands-on. And this, I'm just using my laptop, so it's kind of easy.
I like the name Wire Wednesday. That's cool. Did you come up with that?
Yeah, my original podcast when I was putting on YouTube was called the Ortho Wire.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like kind of a thing to a telephone wire, telegraph kind of thing. The Ortho Wire podcast. And
that's cool.
I've kind of just simplified it down to just Retainer Designer, the title of my channel, so it's easier. But I have a website also called Designer Retainer. And that's where I put blogs and stuff, videos. But yeah, Wire Wednesday, I couldn't come up with it. Wire Tuesday or anything. It just fit better on Wednesday.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's on Thursday.
I had I did the CDT exam here at Night Dental on Saturday, and I actually had 2 orthodontic candidates. And I've been doing that for 5-6 years now, and I've never had an ortho candidate. And I thought that was so cool. I went in there and I was checking out their work and all the wires and the bands, and it was really cool. So I obviously there's more people interested in your field because like I said, I've been doing it for 5 years and I've never seen a candidate. So
that's interesting. And that actually segues into a question I had. I've noticed some similarities between you and Elvis and me and Steve, where I'm a CDT and Steve's not. And Barbara, I believe you're a CDT and Elvis is not, right?
True.
Correct.
Yep.
Steve and I have discussions on this. I'm in a regulated state of Texas where not only do you have to register your lab with the state of Texas, you have to have a CDT on staff 30 hours a week. So pretty much if you're the owner of the lab, you need to be the CDT, or you're paying a CDT to work in your lab, which is kind of risky. But Steve never had to go down that path, so he never went with that. So what are y'all's thoughts on, does that help with y'all's podcast, the different views like you were saying before?
Well, I actually am registered in Texas as well, because we do business in Texas. So I had to register and go through all of that, which I think is extremely important. I'll answer my part of it. Elvis, he's the brainchild. He's the technical guy. He's the one that, puts the interviews together and really does the questions. And then we dive in to the technical when we're talking to technicians. So he's the ebb to my flow. So it works out really well. He does a lot of the groundwork. And then when we come together, the questions and all of that, I think go really well. But he works in a laboratory. He's not a technician, but I mean, he deals with technicians every day and knows how crazy we are. So yeah, I think so. What do you think, Elvis?
Well, that's one of the reasons I asked Barb to be on it. A lot of it has to do with, she's more technical. She actually does bench work. I don't. I know enough to be dangerous, but I'm more management. I'm more administrative. I'm more, motivator. I do a lot of customer service, but Barb is the chair side. So a lot of those interviews, when it comes to that topic, I rely on her to ask the questions.
Yeah.
Steve, do you have any thoughts on that? The similarities.
Hey, tell them that story that you were telling me about the CDT in Texas, that the people were coming from Asia.
Oh yeah, well, like Barbara said, we have a weird law here in the state that says a dentist cannot knowingly send a prescription to an unregistered lab. And so if they're sending a prescription out to a lab outside the state, that lab needs to be registered with the state to be able to accept that case. So dentists who were sending cases to China, the China lab had to register with Texas. So then they sent 2 technicians to our DLAT meeting to take the written exam, and they sent 2 because they knew one was going to fail and they didn't know which one.
Yeah.
And, that was a good thing, is they had to have a working knowledge of English to take the exam, which is one of the benefits of communication with the dentist, is you need to be able to speak the language. So they came down, they sent 2 technicians to take the CDT exam. I think one did pass. So then they were able to register with the state.
Yep.
Yeah, we just got that. Yeah, we haven't aired it yet, but we have a great interview with some presidents of different state associations. Washington State, Florida, Ohio, and there's a really neat perspective on the ones that are regulated and the ones that aren't regulated. And I believe you're the president of the Texas, aren't you?
I was for 2 years.
But you're not anymore.
Yeah, 2017. But I'm kind of executive director.
Iffy, maybe. Yeah.
Iffy. I didn't want that title because I saw the past executive director, everything that they had to do, and this is voluntary. Oh, yeah. So I'm like an association minister, I guess.
Okay. Forever?
It's what?
Is that going to be your job for like a while, or
I would assume so, because I painted myself into a corner, and we didn't even have online registrations for our conference we do in April, or even membership software. So when I came in, I wanted to bring us to the 21st century.
Yep.
And now I'm the only one that knows how to run it. So
exactly.
So now I'm like the webmaster. I'm the conference administrator, because we got badges now that you can scan and record your CDT.
Cool. So you brought them into this century, and now you can do it forever.
Now, if I leave, they may go back a century.
Yep. You don't want that to happen.
So I don't mind. I love what I do. Both of you are involved with the NADL Foundation, NBC, and
everything.
Yeah.
Florida.
And and Steve, if you want to continue on that, we talked about how Ortho, I actually went to the Florida Dental Lab Association when I first got my CDT back in 2005. I think I got my CDT in 2003, but I couldn't find any ortho programs. But Don Inman was speaking at y'all's, and so I flew to Florida just to get at least 2 hours of ortho.
Yeah, good for you. That's cool. Credit. See, we're all connected. Like I said, it's crazy how that works. I know him as well.
Yeah, he's come to our conference also. And I didn't mean to get on the conference part of the thing, but I actually forgot what our original question was.
Cade, when you were talking about your conference, him and I always have a really good relationship where we can like joke around with each other, which is kind of fun. And I always said, like, hey, if I come to your conference, do I have to pull up my horse? and he said yes. He goes, yeah, people actually come in a horse. And he was being serious. And I was like, you're kidding with it. He said he was kidding with it. He's like, yeah, they have a horse you could pull up next to the hotel. And I'm like,
where we have our conference, there was a horse ranch, and they would have rides and stuff with. They don't do that anymore. Yeah,
and different. You're like, hey, come visit, and you could ride my parents' horses. I'm like, oh wow.
A couple years ago, right? So
yeah, my parents actually used to ride their horses to the Greasy Spoon down the street and tie them up in the front. And when I was in high school, so that was it was usual for me.
It's pretty neat.
So, Steve, did you have any questions on?
No, I just said we're in the same boat. Michigan's not regulated to, or I came from Illinois. I was from Chicago area, and you didn't have to be a CDT. So no one has personally ever asked me if I'm a CDT, and this is my like 25th year of doing this. Like no doctor's ever said, "Are you a CDT?" Like it's like they just like show me the work and show me how good you are, and we'll go from there. You know, like show me. So it's been kind of that conversation where no one has ever said like, "Hey, do you have a biology degree or do you have a chemistry degree?" No one's ever said anything, which is interesting in this business that you don't need a degree. Like
for sure.
Which is good and bad. I think a degree always helps because you can communicate with doctors better because they're more prestigious and they've been through college, they've been through so much school that when you can talk to them at their level, they can have it's like a mutual respect. But no one's ever asked me, so I just never did it. So you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's odd.
I hear that a lot.
I've learned that our country is about the only country where you don't have to have a degree in this field, which is odd to me. I mean, it's big in Germany and Japan and in all of Europe. So
that is what's interesting about the whole CDT program is it's a volunteer basis, except when you're in Texas. Well, I mean, it's still volunteer. If you want to own a lab, you either need to be a CDT or own one. And what I love about it, and a lot of people don't like about it, and I dealt with this as president, is the reason they did this law was to take the test. You need 5 years of a tested experience or an accredited school, which was my path. I went through an accredited school. And the other thing was, I think, in Barbara, you might know the numbers. I think the average work experience you need to be able to pass the test is 9 to 12 years. So almost a decade. So
yeah, it's
Texas,
at least 5.
They want someone in each lab that is guaranteed to have a decade of experience for patient care and things like that. And that's the way I like to look at it.
I like to look at it like that too. I think it's extremely important. And they know that somebody that's been doing it for a year, isn't placing restorations in people's mouths. So I think that's pretty smart, actually. And I like the fact that they are doing that.
And I like this 2 perspective thing that y'all have and Steve and I have, because his is show me the money. Bend me a retainer and I'll tell you if I want to use you or not.
Yeah.
And it's how that is here in Texas. You talk to most doctors, they don't know what a CDT is, and we're trying to teach them and stuff. But I bet most of the time it's Steve and Elvis's labs that, it's referral basis and you're good. You'll get the business.
Yeah.
Well, our lab, we have 9 CDTs, and I proudly tell our accounts that, and I bring it up anytime I talk to a new account. Doesn't mean it's what sells it, but I always mention it because I think it's important to have 9 in a lab of our size. I think is pretty good.
That's weird that you even mentioned that, because I was filling out, we're doing a Heartland, we're doing something for Heartland. It's called an RFP. And one of their questions was, how many CDTs do you have? So I had to go around to every one of my CDTs today, get their names, get their numbers, and we've got 14.
Wow.
No, 15. And I was like, damn, that's a lot. Excuse
Yeah.
my French, but that's a lot, I mean, that's pretty sweet. So I was thinking I need to have a CDT appreciation day next month for all my folks that have gone that mile. So it was cool.
Hey, Barbara, in one of your interviews, I believe you were talking about there was benefits to the employees getting it. Like you pay for them to do it. So like for me, it's no benefit because I don't.
Nobody's going to give you $1,000.
No one's going to give me $1,000 to take the test and go through it. And
understood.
There's no benefit. Now, what Kate and I have discovered in the NADL, let's go back a few years. When I was a little kid, I grew up in the dental technology industry. My dad was a professor in dental technology, teaching denture.
Oh my God, really? Wow.
I have a denture background.
Cool.
And one of the things I would go to the NADL and there was nothing there for orthodontics, like 0. Today, to this day, if I go to the meeting in Chicago, there's a lot of 3D stuff, like, and that's what we're into right now, 3D printing and digital everything. But as far as ortho, there's barely anything. And him and I are trying to change that. So we probably end up seeing us at some point because we'll be there to bring in ortho dental technology to the forum too. But that's one of the reasons why I never got involved in it either, is because it's just not no benefit. Now, being an employee of a business, obviously it's beneficial to get that CDT. And I could see how, like Elvis, you were saying, it's great to share that knowledge to show that you're certified. I would do it if I had to in a second. You know what I mean?
Is that you, Elvis?
Yeah. Yeah. This is the only room I got.
Overhead? That's one of those things that you have to deal with when you're live.
I was up on the table trying to turn it off earlier. I couldn't figure it out. So yeah, sorry.
So I'd just like to say that I think it's amazing that you guys are marching that drum all the way to the top, and you should. I mean, we were going to have you on our podcast. I'll mention it to Bennett with the NADL, and I mean, get it out there. It's extremely
we
important.
started, Barb. Okay, tell them about our AOLP so they know what that is.
Yeah, it was kind of birthed from the Dental Lab Association of Texas spring meeting. As president, then there was a couple other ortho dental technician presidents that would start bringing in ortho speakers for the ortho, and it's grown into a 2-day get all your 12 hours of CDT purely in ortho if you want meeting. It's a 2-day event, and it's almost like a separate little club. And so from that was birthed with Christopher, and I'm going to ruin his last name, Gajewski. He owns an ortho lab in Pennsylvania. He's the president of the newly formed Association of Orthodontic Laboratory Professionals. And so
there you go.
It's a national, international event. They just launched a membership. I think we're in the 20s now of members. Just people were like, yes, we need this. We want connection to each other. And because at those meetings, you learn more talking to other lab owners sometimes than you do from whoever's speaking. And just having a collection of ortho lab owners at this, it just spawned this. We had our first meeting last year at our conference, and this year will be our first fully formed, we're official nonprofit. And I'm actually secretary of
oh
that.
My God, you sound like me. You're not on enough boards, are you?
No.
Time in the day.
So one of the another similarities between our podcast, and Steve brought it up, was Barbara, you're a generational technician. Steve's a generational technician. Elvis, I believe you're new to the industry just as I am. And I thought there's a lot of similarities. And I believe, Barbara, your father was.
Yeah, my father founded Night Dental 45 years ago. I was not knowing what I wanted to do with the rest of my life and off partying in Orlando after I graduated. And he threw me into the lab, called me on the phone, said, you need to get back to the lab. I have a job for you. And I started from the ground up, literally driving and unpacking and shipping. And then I worked my way all the way up to what I'm doing today. And my son, who's 20, is kind of the same scenario. And I was like, why don't you try this? I really think you're artistic. I think you'll like it. And he actually sits right next to me on the bench. I am still on the bench. I run the laboratory, but I'm still on the bench. And I've taught him to be a ceramist. And in a year now, he's already contouring his own posteriors. And he's focused. He's happy. He loves it. I just love it. So I've got 3. So yeah, I'm really proud of that.
And
it means a lot to me.
Steve, before I turn it over to you and you can talk about how your first job was setting teeth, we got some chat, and Frank Liebman, Frank from France is what I call him. He's a technician in France. He was like, what is a CDT? And Barbara, you might be able to answer that better than I can.
So certified dental technician, you have to take a practical exam, which is a hands-on exam where you exemplify the skills. Like if it's crown and bridge, you have to wax it. You have to wax a coping. You have to solder a bridge. You have to seat and finish a bridge, polish, check margins and all of that. And then you take a written exam. One geared to the specialty like Crown and Bridge, and then one just general knowledge. It's probably about 250 questions, and it's general knowledge. So you need to know, at least 5 years of some sort of documentation, the Army manuals, there's books that you can read. And then they test you on your knowledge. The hands-on, you only get 5 hours. So you basically have to go a whole gamut. You have to know how to multitask. You have to know how to do many things at once. You have to keep yourself calm, and they just, test you at your discipline. It's pretty cool. I barely made it at 5 hours, but I finished. It's cool.
That sounds like an everyday orthodontic technician.
Yeah.
Right, Kate?
Yeah, no pressure. No pressure.
Ask Frank and say, does that sound like your daily job? You got 5 hours to get stuff done and everything's just thrown at you and you got 20 different things, and that's our everyday of our life.
Frank says, I love your podcast, Barb. So
thanks.
Yay. Got a listener in France.
Cool.
Nice. So Steve, going back to your generational thing, you were telling me a story of, I'm getting a call in.
Uh-oh. I hope it's somebody that likes us.
It's from California. I gotta pause that for a second. Sorry. Are y'all hearing that?
I did. I heard the ring.
I heard the ring. Yeah.
Love being live. It's the wonders of being live.
I love editing.
Yeah. Well, with video, for every hour you take of video, it's like 3 hours of editing.
Yeah.
So I went with live, and I was like, "This is what you get for right now." And so
don't look back.
Yeah.
Don't look back.
So,
you're saving yourself hours.
Go back to Steve. Oh yeah. Going back to Steve, tell us how you got started, and your brother's in it too. I think they had an article in the JDT about him and his brother and his dad.
You guys might know my brother is Wayne Szara. He works for Zimmer Biomet Implants.
What's his name? Wayne
Szara.
The name sounds familiar. Yeah.
He goes around the world teaching technicians and surgeons about dental implants.
I think he was here in Indiana. I think I saw him in January.
Yeah,
January or February.
He's everywhere.
Talking about locators?
He's everywhere.
Would he have been talking about locators?
He talks about everything.
Yeah. Okay.
It's all implants.
It sounds like my sister. It's like be bright, be brief, and be done, and she does not know how that works. So it sounds like it.
Yeah. He's a world traveler. He's all over the place.
Did you kill the fly?
I'm looking for my fly swatter. It came back. Oh, it's behind me.
It's over there. Yep. He's going to kill it before this is over.
Oh, I think I got him in the air. Talent. If I had chopsticks, I'd really show you what I'm worth. All right, so now we have the comic break. Steve, you were talking about how you were setting teeth for your dad.
Yeah, I grew up in the family business. My dad was a dental technician. We had a denture business inside the basement, and he had me setting teeth on his lap. Like, hey, check this out. This is fun to play with the wax. And I just got a kick out of it. I was just like, this is fun. And hey, you can make money doing this too, which is super cool too. And Kate and I go back a little bit. We both have the same. What's interesting between him and I is we were both wannabe dentists, and we didn't get into dental school.
You guys wanted to be dentists?
Well, no.
Why?
Well,
not anymore.
Wait, hold on a second. Wait, hold on one second. I wanted to be an orthodontist. I did not want to be a dentist.
Thank you.
No, it was not
I knew
for
you were
me.
crazy, but damn.
I've told people I would have been probably the most miserable dentist on this planet if I didn't get into orthodontics. Like that was in orthodontist, which is interesting that most people don't know. Not only do you have to get through dental school, you got to be like 1 and 2 of your class to get into orthodontics. And so they're the top of their class in general. It's such a hard thing to get into. But in my field, we didn't become dentists. It's probably for the best. I hear so many people that go, I know so many dentists who I've talked to over the years that go, I wish I was just doing what you were doing, because this patients and dealing with healthcare, and it's tough. It's a tough business. Yeah. And for us, I don't meet too many unhappy technicians for the most part. Most people are just like, yeah, it's a pretty cool job. You know, we're very artistic, you know,
Yep.
so different. I'm glad I chose this profession. I usually hear that 9 out of 10 times rather than someone say they have a bad experience with dental technology. And we're talking about all the fields. We're talking about ceramics, crown and bridge, ortho, dentures, partials. All the people I've met over the years through my dad. My dad trained thousands of employees. One of them was just on your podcast, Tom. So Zaleski.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He was one of his students, and ironically, he was in my brother's class with my brother and him. Tom were in the same class. So this small world, but people.
Yep.
It's a very cool industry. I love it personally. I've never had a bad day. I mean, you have bad days, bad moments.
Yeah.
Never had a bad day.
Yeah.
So.
Same here.
True. We
Well,
always come back.
Elvis, you and I are in the same boat. We're new to the industry. So tell us how you stepped your first foot into a laboratory.
Yeah, so I've been here 10 years, and before then, I was actually managing a pizza restaurant. So I was in my late 20s with zero direction in life. And I actually was working at one pizza place and went to go work at another one and hated it. So when I tried to go back to the old pizza place, he's like, hey, listen, you know, you can't be jumping around on me. So I looked for an ad and entered part-time packer here at this lab. Came in here just in the afternoons to put the crowns and stuff in the bag and ship it out, and fell in love with it. I got a great crew here, a lot of good technicians that were willing to teach me things. The owner of the lab, Larry Sawinski, has been in this industry for more than he'd like to admit, but he took me under his wing and taught me everything, got me engaged in the industry, and I've been here ever since, and was the smartest decision I ever made, starting to work here part-time.
Yeah, that I started as an orthodontic assistant as a junior in high school. And I was getting my braces adjusted, and I got a gap now because I didn't wear my retainer.
Imagine that.
Ironic.
Yeah.
But I was getting adjusted, and the doctor was like complaining because he was having to what's called a cephalometric examination. It's a side profile x-ray, and he was tracing it to get the growth patterns of people. And he did Medicaid, so he had a stack about this high, and he was having to draw them in between patients. And he's like, I wish you assistants would learn how to do this so I wouldn't have to do it. And I was like, I'll do it.
Nice.
I was taking drafting and art classes. I was like, it looks like drawing. And so I started working for him. And just like Steve said, I went to college on a track scholarship. And I know you two do running and stuff, so I like to listen to y'all's stories.
Oh, yeah.
And so I ran cross country and track in college, and that's where I met my wife. And I started working for an orthodontist there that then introduced me to the lab. And so I was trying to get into dental school, and because I was running track, I didn't concentrate on my grades. So I didn't have the grades to get in the first time. And it was very hard in Texas at the time to get in at any of the schools. And then I got this pamphlet from the University of Texas Health Science Center in San Antonio. And they were like, come to the dental school. And I was like, man, I want to be a dentist, you know, orthodontist. Yeah. I'm no lab tech. And the orthodontist I was working for was like, look at that. You will like that. And so I was like, well, I'll go to the school while I'm waiting to get into dental school. And my first year there, I stopped applying. I was like, I love this industry. It's so much fun. And so it's definitely a small world, because changing a little bit, that same interview you did with Tom Zaleski, I know Richard Wills from Wichita Falls.
Oh, yeah.
He serves on the board of directors on the Dental Laboratory Association. In fact, I talked to him last night on our conference call, our dental laboratory. So yeah, small world, and we're a community, and that's the reason I wanted to get y'all on, so that our ortho listeners don't stay strictly with blinders and ortho, because there's a lot to learn in the other industries. And so as we start to kind of wind down here, what is the future of the podcast that y'all see?
Just expansion, really. We have not had Ortho on. We would love to have Ortho on. We've done denturist, and I want to do more of that. Anyone really willing to come on, we'll let you have your say. We just hope to grow. We do have some exciting things lined up where hopefully Barb and I might be recording live at a few places. So we'll see how that pans out.
Might be. No, we are. We're going to.
We're going
to
the
equipment, and Elvis is going to make it. He's going to make it because he's that guy.
So yeah, we will be recording live at a few, hopefully conferences coming up this fall and early next year. But just growing is really what I want to do. I just want to get people on. Anyone willing to come on, we'll have you on. I'm not going to be picky. I want to touch every subject that we can. So.
Yeah, as many specialties, as many things that are good for our industry. Like we had the guys with the clean air systems on, and we've had digital dentures, and just for me, I've learned so much. It's been amazing. So yeah, it's just as much about our industry as we can have, and we're open to all of it. And in other countries, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in we're just stronger together. So the more we can connect, the more we can just share ideas. We can make the industry stronger, which will in turn make all of us better at what we do.
Yeah.
I believe Steve was, that was the point when he introduced me, was like, you got to listen to these guys. The people they brought on it's very valuable information. And I'm working my way. He's listened to all of them, and I'm working my way.
Wow.
I want to say I'm 16 or 17 episode. And so,
we're getting better. I think at first, we had a little fear, it's fear of the unknown, trying to do an interview, talking to people, what do you say, being uncomfortable. And then as we've gone along, our partnership has grown. I think our questions and our content are getting stronger, and we're just getting a little more laid back and just better at it, more polished maybe. I don't know. I feel like we're getting better. Our interviews are getting better. Not that the first ones weren't, but you get better as you grow. So I'm hoping we do. Anyways.
There you are. Okay.
I always tell people if you're going to start listening to us, be kind in the first few episodes. Don't judge it all there. I mean,
I thought it was great.
Well, I appreciate that.
It was
when I go back and when I go back and listen, it sounds very scripted to me, and it was because
it was. I was looking at the questions, and it was definitely.
Be kind, new listeners, and it gets better.
Yeah.
Well, Steve knows this. Same thing with YouTube channels. In fact, we did an interview about a ortho lab tech that turned full-time YouTuber with his family vlog channel. And Steve went back and watched his very first video, and the look on his face was like, "Oh man, why'd you do that?"
Yeah.
Fear.
Well, tell him how, for instance, that guy, he used to be an ortho tech. Now he's doing full-time YouTube. He's gone from, and I was watching his little channel. He had like 4,000 subscribers. He's at like 275,000 subscribers right now. So you just got to keep throwing water at it. You know what I'm saying? You guys got to keep throwing water at your channel, keep getting it out there, meeting people like us, because we're going to promote you. Vice versa. You guys promote, you know what I'm saying? It's just a win-win-win.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And knowledge is power, because just like me listening to your channel the other night, I picked up a tip on marketing from Tom, and I was just like, I never thought of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How cool is that?
I want people
for all our industries.
I want people to have fun and walk away, hopefully learning something. But
definitely.
And for us binge listeners, here's a tip on your YouTube channel. If you'll put all your videos in a playlist, they'll play one after another. And
that's for you.
I have to do that.
Yeah. You create a playlist, put all your videos in. Like we'll have wire bending playlist.
Yeah.
And it won't jump to another person's video. It'll jump to the next in the playlist.
See, I learned something.
Yeah. So
I had a good time and I learned something. See?
Well, you learned a couple things.
Yes, I did.
Don't start at 4 a.m. and do a playlist.
I'm not even awake when it goes out.
Elvis, what he's saying with the playlist is, here's what happens if you don't. For instance, I'm watching your video. It's number 26. It's on whatever topic it was. And I'm listening to it. It's about dentures, 3D dentures. I'm listening to it. when I'm done listening to it and I'm doing something else, like I'm going to clean something up, it goes to a different video on YouTube. It might be something to do with 3D something. So if I'm listening to it, you just lost my listenership but if you have a playlist, it goes to number 25.
Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah.
And the conversation keeps going, or it'll go to whatever order you put them in. You got a lot to learn on analytics.
Yes, I know, I do.
Check out your YouTube analytics, right, Cade? We know.
Oh yeah. I know I lose a lot of people in the first 4 minutes of my video, and it's probably my droning voice. So I try to liven it up a little bit, like, hey, juggling,
Yeah. Interesting. No, thank you. I'll look into that.
Yeah.
Well, let's wrap this up, and you're not just on YouTube. Tell us all the other places people can find you that like to listen. I personally like to listen to audiobooks while I work.
Mm-hmm.
Your podcast, even though I listen through YouTube, is perfect because I can just put my earphones in and just get the bending. So tell us where you're
Sure. At. I mean, we have the website voicesfromthebench.com, and that's going to have a link to everywhere. But pretty much anywhere you can listen to podcasts, I've been trying to get it on. So you have Apple Podcasts, which is the biggest. Most of the people listen to us through there. So if you have an iPhone, the app is already installed. All you got to do is type in Voices from the Bench, and they'll all be on there. You can listen in your car or whatever. But we're also on, Outcast, Spotify, Stitcher. I mean, there's a bazillion out there. And usually once you get on iTunes, it kind of goes everywhere else. Oh. But hit up voicesfromthebench.com and all the options, or you can listen to it directly from Voices from the Bench.
Yeah, that's an excellent website. And
thanks.
I love how you have the speakers, and you can learn more about them on there and things like that. And get a T-shirt, right?
Get a T-shirt.
Yeah. I've seen our T-shirt in JDT. Did you?
I saw that.
JDT.
I saw that.
Martha Martin has our Voices from the Bench. That was at the race. That was cool. I was like, yay!
Yeah. So you're getting the word out, and I appreciate y'all coming on and taking time out for this very strict, start at noon live stream and being willing to show your not only your voices but your faces on the live stream.
Yeah, I have a face for radio. Yeah.
That's what my mom said to me.
Gosh. Well, we appreciate you having us. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Steve, you got any last final inspirational words?
No pressure.
Just listen to the podcast. You learn something. Guarantee you'll learn something.
And if you have an opinion, get in touch with us. We'll put you on.
Yeah, it's great. And Steve and I look forward to being on y'all's podcast.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah. We're gonna have some fun. I can already tell.
Oh yeah.
So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. You two stay on after I stop the broadcast. Tell us where you're going to be your next conference. Are you going to be at a conference?
The next one we're going to be at that Barb and I will both be at, will be Visions 21, which is NADL's conference in Las Vegas, January 16th,
21st.
Something-ish. Yeah. So.
And we don't have any fun in Vegas.
No.
Just saying.
No.
Not at all.
Well, and that's what I want to talk to you about, the DLAT conference. So with that being said, y'all stay on. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody who's watching from UK, France, who else? Australia. It's great having y'all on here. Y'all can watch this later and you can see the live stream, the chat going on. So
nice.
Again, thanks. Steve Szara is Szara Dental Lab, SZARA Dental Lab on YouTube, and I have the links to Voices from the Bench website and their YouTube channel in the description below. Until next Wednesday, happy bending.